Hey, what's up everyone? Today we've got news about the next patch. The CEO talks about stability, and the CEO confirms that there's a major issue with the shield generator. And they've also got plans to buff some more weapons. Not only that, the developers have plans to balance the game and so much more to discuss. Please support the channel by tapping the like button, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's start off with the stability announcement. The Chief Executive Officer, Shams Georgiani, talked a little bit about the next patch. However, before he did that, he mentioned that the team at Arrowhead is not done just yet, and there's more coming in the next update. He wrote this on the official Helldivers 2 Discord and said, "Happy to hear response is good. We're not done just yet. What's important for me is that we can get a bit of consistency, and the next update is another step in the right direction. Many steps over time takes us to greatness." This is big because consistency is what matters, right? We need patches like the recent update, which was well received, not just any patch that's going to be broken or filled with nerfs. Those kind of patches are very underwhelming and can really drag down the player base. I don't think the developers at Arrowhead are planning on doing something like that again. Sure, bugs can pop up every now and then. As I've mentioned in the past, bugs are, just bound to happen. Almost every game has at least one or more bugs, so it's inevitable. They obviously can't control all the bugs because, to be fair, when you have a QA team of, let's say, 100 or so people, or however many it is, then the update goes live to the public where there's a player base of 40,000 to 70,000 players. Yes, bugs are bound to pop up more because there's just a lot more activity. What they can't control, however, is the nerfs, what they plan to buff or not, and what content they plan to bring. Bugs or glitches can happen and sometimes are not controllable. Now, speaking of bugs, do the developers have plans to address stability? Yes, that appears to be the case. They're planning on improving stability in the next update, and we know this because the CEO Shams continued to post another message on the Discord where he wrote, "Focus on more stability fixes is coming up as well." Well, the developers at Arrowhead are going to ensure stability is improved, as there will be a greater focus on that area. I must say, they're already doing an excellent job, considering yesterday's update resolved numerous issues, whether that's bugs, reverting nerfs, or adjusting how enemies function. They've done an absolutely stellar job on all that, and now stability will be a key focus in the next patch, which excites me because it hopefully means that Helldivers 2 will perform much better than it already does. However, if you're experiencing any issues with the recent patch, rest assured that Arrowhead will likely resolve those problems. They have a known issue list that indicates which bugs are given higher priority over others. On a related note, the CCO at Arrowhead has confirmed there's a bug with the personal shield generator backpack. Apparently, right now, it's immune to melee attacks, meaning essentially, you'll be in God mode. I wasn't aware of this, so I decided to give it a go, and yeah, it's a little broken right now. With that being said, Mr. Pillishead posted this message on X and said, "Hey everyone, we are aware of the rather embarrassing bug with the personal shield generator, where it does not take damage from melee attacks. We are looking at resolving this ASAP." Now, as I mentioned earlier, bugs are bound to happen, and this is one of those cases. The issue here is that there were no buffs planned for this stratagem, so I'm sure there were no plans to test it extensively. Therefore, it's not really the developer's fault here, and it couldn't be avoided. The good news is that they're looking into patching this as soon as possible. Now, how soon is possible? Well, just a few moments ago, they released a new hotfix, which is 01.001.001. Right here, they wrote, "Fix for SH32 shield generator pack, crash fix." The CCO was not joking around when he said they were going to fix it as soon as possible, and boy oh boy did they. That was announced about, I think, an hour or two ago when he talked about this, but then this patch came out about 2 hours later, which is really cool. Now, what's hilarious about the patch notes is that the developers wrote this underneath the fix and said, "Fixes, fix for a crash during host migration when a new player joins. Helldivers were accidentally granted the SH32 shield generator packs from General Brash's personal stash. These are reserved for 10-star generals only. The workers at the distribution center have been sent to re-education camps, and regular shields will resume distribution." Okay, wait a minute. If General Brash has an inventory full of weapons or stratagems that are that powerful, then I think I'm gonna head over to Super Earth and steal a few of... Yeah, guys, do not do that, or you'll be sent to a re-education camp, man, and you don't want to go there. You really don't. I think I'm just gonna not steal anything and spread more democracy. Yeah. With that aside, Mr. Pillistat responded to a player on X, and they've got plans to buff the jetpack cooldown, meaning we should be able to use the jetpack more often than not. I wasn't expecting this stratagem to receive a buff, but that's the plan, and they currently have their eyes set on that for the next patch. The proof can be seen here, where Mr. Pillistat responded to a player and wrote, "We are looking at the jump pack next patch." So yeah, there's a lot to be excited about since they have plans to improve stability and include a buff for the jetpack stratagem. I would like to believe their goal is to buff more than just the jetpack in the next update, which is awesome if it is the case because we've received so many useful tools in the current update. Yet as great as these buffs are, I think they're going to eventually balance out some of the buffs soon. Mainly because the patch notes mention balancing. I know that might seem like a shock to some of you, or you may not believe it, but this is going to be a reality soon. Whether or not the next update will contain some big nerfs is uncertain, but I suspect that Arrowhead has learned from their previous mistakes, though you never know what might happen. So let's go ahead and see what Arrowhead has written in the patch notes. If you check out this line about midway through the notes, it says, "With these changes, along with an upgraded Helldiver arsenal, enemy adjustments, and more consistent damage, the overall difficulty may slightly decrease. We'll be monitoring this closely and we'll listen to the community on how you think it feels. We want to assure you that your feedback remains essential to us. Please share your thoughts on these updates as we are actively listening. We plan to conduct another balance pass by day 60 of our commitment to ensure we're aligning with what you need for the best possible experience and to address any concerns or adjustments required. Your insights will be invaluable in refining these changes and making sure the game remains engaging and enjoyable for everyone." Okay, as you can see, they're planning on balancing the weapons, stratagems, or really whatever they find necessary to balance. This could be perceived as bad news because they have done some questionable balancing in the past, so it's possible they could adjust some of the weapons, like the thermite grenade, which can take out a bottle time with ease. And no, I'm not saying it's a problem, but they might make some adjustments in that area, or they might buff certain weapons like the throwing knife for instance. This solely depends on the player feedback and whether they receive enough feedback suggesting they should make changes to buff weapons, enemies, increase the difficulty, or whatever the case may be. I'd like to know from you all if they should make some changes to make the game slightly more difficult. If so, what would you like them to change? Post a response in the comments below. Moving along, there's some more good news because Arrowhead is already looking into the Day 60 patch, which according to Mr. Pillistat is going to bring a lot of exciting changes. He mentioned this in his recent post on Reddit where he created this message in a thread and said, "Hey friends, thank you for all your amazing feedback, and it's amazing to finally see so many divers return. We are now looking to the Day 60 patch, which will bring some more exciting changes. I just wanted to pop in here and say that I think we should be grateful for getting several awesome games. I can't even imagine how I, as a kid, would have felt to be able to play Helldivers 2 and SM2. They are different games, but you can enjoy as many games as you want. All love." All I'm saying is that if the next patch doesn't include a throw knife buff, we should all revolt against Arrowhead. No, of course, I'm joking, I really am, but that utility absolutely needs a buff. I felt it was a slight miss, but they do have plans to introduce a new patch soon that might buff some of the weapons they weren't able to boost in the recent update. I'm not really sure what else they could buff besides that utility, considering all the weapons sort of feel overpowered. And I mean that in a good way, not in a derogatory sense. Anyways, continuing forward, the CCO Mr. Pillistat has responded to some players on X about the changes to the recoilless rifle, with one player saying, "I don't get why people didn't play on easier level instead of complaining. Now any level is a walk in the park. Even big bugs get thrashed so fast. It's kind of sad." The developers saw this and responded with, "Right, it's because it just didn't feel enjoyable or believable to hit a charger with an RR and it brushing it off. We are going to look at the challenge of the game for those high tier players. It's in the pipe." Yeah, this right here probably suggests they'll make some changes to the weapons, or that they might introduce a difficulty setting where possibly the Biomes will have more health, or the chargers will have more resistance to explosion damages from weapons like the thermite grenade, which is something I'd like to see instead of them nerfing or balancing the weapons out. It would be amazing to see a new difficulty option with modifiers that give enemies more health and resistance to damage. There are plenty of games that do this, like Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 16, and others. With that said, if the developers were to implement something like that, where they have a mode that increases the enemy's health or attack power, I think it would be perfect for us players who want more of a challenge. I'm not too sure how many will agree with me on this, but as of right now, I'll say that the game feels less challenging to some degree than it was previously. And I'm not trying to criticize the update because I actually like it a lot. I just think the challenge aspect was somewhat removed, and the developers at Arrowhead should implement something that restores the difficulty. This doesn't mean nerfing or balancing the weapons into an oblivion, but what I am suggesting is a higher difficulty with modifiers that give enemies higher resistance, attack power, and more health. Because I don't think difficulty 10 is hard at all anymore. It kind of feels like a cakewalk in my opinion. You might feel differently about this, and if so, let me know if you agree or disagree, but this is just how I feel about it. So don't take it to heart because, as I've said recently, I like the patch, but the difficulty overall for sure needs to be ramped up. Moving along, the Arrowhead devs are going to change a few things with the Galactic War and Mage Order. The idea is to basically balance it out. There's a player on the Helldivers 2 Discord who wrote this right here. Where's that Twimber message where he said something along the lines of, if we need to balance the MO Galactic War, then we will. Yeah bro, you might want to check the numbers. The community manager Twimber saw this and agreed that those are the plans for the Galactic War and the Mage Order because he responded to this member and said, not all changes are quick and dirty though. Galactic War changes are both important and intricate, so they take some time, both to discuss and change. There will be more changes coming to the Galactic War in the future, small and large. There we go, we might see some changes in the next patch, perhaps even sooner, who knows. But it's great news that they haven't forgotten about the Galactic War, and we can expect them to shake things up sometime in the future. Whatever is planned, I'm totally ready, and I'm sure you all are as well. Since we're on the topic of changes, if you were wondering whether it's possible for the developers at Arrowhead to create biomes with some gravity effects, apparently that is not going to be feasible. The CEO confirmed this on the Helldivers 2 Discord, where he responded to a player and said, "Imagine the insanity of having different gravity levels on planets. Things would go absolutely bananas." Then there's a player who responded to Shams and basically said that they wonder what the devs are cooking. To which Shams replied back with, "Realistically, I think it's impossible. It would screw up every single system." As you can see, unfortunately, this is most likely a future we will not see at any point. He did say that he thinks it's impossible, so who knows if they can or not. Personally, I would like to see different gravity levels, but obviously they cannot do that as far as we are aware. However, since they can't do that, I would love to see a variety of different biome effects that have a big impact on the battlefield. Currently we have acid storms that deteriorate armor the longer you're in the storm, and there are sandstorms that slow down your character. Effects like these are really awesome, and hopefully they have plans to do more with the biomes so there are more interesting ways to play. Next up, there's some potential news that Arrowhead might have plans to switch engines. I do not believe this will happen to Helldivers 2 at all, but they have a job position on their site that says Head of Engineering. Then if we scroll down below, they've got a description of what the job pertains to, and right here midway it says, "You have extensive experience with C++, game engines, and ideally with adopting a new game engine tech stack." What I believe this does mean is that they have plans to switch engines to create a new game at some point, so that it's something a bit more manageable and up to date. It would be a big move that would benefit them so much, mainly because they are on an outdated Stingray engine, and so swapping to an engine like Unreal would do them wonders, and I think that right there is the way to go. With that all being said, this is your Helldivers 2 news. If you guys would like to be featured in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below. The first comment is by Dragos Fraud 2783. The game is not too easy now. It's back to being fun. The second comment is by Reaperoni. I think the commando change is perfect. The devs recognized that it was powerful, that it could one-shot fabricators at any angle, but they noticed that people really like the ability to destroy fabricators at any angle. Then they changed the game to give fabricators health so they can be destroyed at any angle with other weapons, and then made it a two-shot for the commando. That's how you should take community feedback. This comment right here is on point, and that right there is a response to yesterday's video. And last but not least, we have the Action J 864 finally undid all the damage from Alexis. So with that being said, those are the top 3 comments. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. If you have not done so, subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a like as well. Let me know how you feel about it, and comment down below and just give me your overall thoughts. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one.